Hello, it's Matt, and today I'm going to show you how to make some blueberry muffins. And we're going to do a generic blueberry muffin recipe, which I got off of any old website. It doesn't really matter. Most blueberry recipes are pretty good. But we're just going to go through the process of making blueberry muffins and panning them up and baking them and seeing what we can produce. Alright, so first off, what I'm going to start with is the wet ingredients, as Alton Brown would put it. So we got fat. Since we're using the muffin method, so we have melted fat. This is butter, and it's about 6 ounces. So I'm going to pour this into our bowl. And to that, I'm going to add 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks. I'm making a double batch, so go ahead and divide by 2 if you want your own single batch. This will produce 24 muffins. I'm making some for the office, so that's why I'm making so many. Alright, we get all our eggs. Alright. After that, we're going to add 1.5, I believe. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. There we go. Here we go. And we're going to add 2/3 cup of milk. Now, I'm using half and half because more fat equals more fun. I make pancakes with half and half. Alright? Alright, so here we go. 2/3 cup of half and half. Okay. And that pretty much takes care of all of our wet ingredients. Now, we're going to do our dry ingredients. And that starts out with, we got 3 cups of flour. We got 1.5 cups of sugar. We have 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And we have 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Alright, now I'm using table salt. Now if you're using this by weight, you could use kosher salt, but I'm using homemaker method, so I decided to err on the side of caution and use table salt, since kosher salt would produce a lot less product than table salt will, since kosher salt is bigger than table salt. Alright, so anyway, that's the dry stuff. I'm going to take all this stuff and we're going to pour it together in one gigantic bowl, like this. Now, if I was at school, in a restaurant, or some fancy hotel, I'd probably sift these ingredients for better aeration and homogenation. But I'm sitting here in my kitchen, so we're going to use a whisk and we're just going to stir it together. There we go. And I'm using pastry flour tonight because I think pastry flour creates a nice lighter muffin. It has less protein in it than, say, all-purpose or bread or other flours. So that's what I'm using tonight. Alright. Okay. Once you get that all homogenized with your whisk, we're going to take the dry stuff and put it on top of the wet stuff. We rarely ever want to put the wet stuff on top of the dry stuff, because then you get dry pockets in the bottom and you guys sit there and scrape forever and you may or may not get that all. Now, what's crucial about this is we're making muffins. So we want our muffins to be light and fluffy and yummy. We do not want them to be brownie-like or cake-like or donut-like even. So we want to create as least amount of gluten as possible. And gluten is produced when moisture is exposed to proteins in the flour, and we have gluten. Now, the 2 components of gluten are already in here in the flour, and they're already there, but they're only activated when you add liquid. And the more you stir and the more you agitate, the more gluten you're going to create. So your main method when making muffins is to agitate it as least as possible. Also, you want to be ready when you mix these together, because you got a leavener in here, which is baking powder, and baking powder waits for no one. So as soon as the baking powder hits the liquid, it starts to get all excited and react. It makes little bubbles of gas and carbon dioxide, and it's ready to go. So you don't want to dilly-dally around between mixing up your batter and getting it into your pans. In fact, I've gone ahead and prepared my pans. I'm using little foil liners, and I've taken out extra insurance by spraying them with non-stick Pam. You can use any pan spray you want. So that just helps them come off and people don't get all messy when they peel the wrapper off. And anyways, alright, so let's go ahead and add the dry stuff to the wet stuff. So just go ahead and pour it all in at once. Get it roll everybody out. And we're going to whisk. So this is what it looks like. There you go. Go ahead and whisk it, whisk it, whisk it, whisk it. Get most of it incorporated. We don't want it completely, you know, smooth. Alright, that's about as far as I want to go at the moment. Because I got to agitate this some more because I have to have my blueberries. So go ahead and get the dough, the batter, off of your whisk. And go ahead and add your blueberries. And now it's summertime when I'm shooting this. So blueberries are plentiful. And here we go. So right now they're 2 pints for $3. In wintertime, they will not be 2 pints for $3 for fresh blueberries. In fact, I recommend you use the frozen ones. Alright, but remember when you use frozen blueberries, you're going to want to thaw those out and get the moisture out of them before you put them into your muffin, because frozen blueberries have extra moisture in them, so you don't want to put them in frozen because then the moisture comes out and your blueberry muffins become more soggy and there's sadness and crying and not a good scene. So anyways, go ahead and pour those in. And I've rinsed these. And, skip blueberry. There we go. And you're going to take a spatula and you're going to fold these in. And folding means you take your spatula, stick it into your bowl, and twist like that. And then you twist your bowl, and you do it like that. Alright? See what I'm doing? Okay. You don't want to stir, you want to fold in your ingredients. You want to be gentle. You want to keep your blueberries intact for later excitement. Now, I've tried this recipe by doubling the amount of blueberries according to doubling the recipe, and that doesn't work out so well because the blueberry to batter ratio is a little bit off, and you end up with lots of blueberries and a little bit of batter, and it gets way too much moisture, and soggy muffins, and they don't rise, and all kinds of bad stuff. Alright, so we're done. Here we go, muffins. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and portion these into my little muffin tins, and we're going to use a handy dandy scooper. Now everyone likes to use tablespoons and other things, but this will make sure you get nice even muffin placement. So go ahead and get your little muffin tray right here, and go ahead and scoop it out. Now I'm going to just do one. I mean, everyone knows how this works. You go like this, and yeah, you might not think there's enough in there, but you only want to go half full. You don't want to go more than half full, because then you end up with muffin tops that may or may not make a mess all over your stove, your oven actually. All right, so there you go. All right, now that was too much, so we're going to take some of that out. All right, we got our muffins all tinned up, and here they are. And we're going to finish this off by sprinkling some coarse decorative sugar on top of them, and this can be purchased at any grocery store. And it's just what it is. It's just coarse sugar, like decorative sugar you put on top of cookies and so forth. So same stuff works, but this just gives an extra added crunch to the top of the muffin. So just go ahead and get a handful of this and be liberal. These are not diet muffins by any shape or form. We'll do diet muffins today. And there you go. And once that's done, I'm going to put these into a 375-degree oven and cook them for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to check them with a toothpick and see how they come out. So see you soon. As you can see, my blueberry muffins have come out of the oven and they look pretty good. I stuck a toothpick all the way down to the bottom and pulled back up, and the toothpick was dry. You want to make sure you push all the way down to the bottom, because sometimes the bottoms of the muffins don't cook as fast as the top of the muffin. To recap, today's recipe was for 1 dozen blueberry muffins. I made 2 dozen, but I'm going to give you the recipe for 1 dozen. You want to start out with 3/4 stick of butter, preferably unsalted butter. You want to melt that in your microwave or on the stove top. You want a 1/3 cup of whole milk. I used half and half, but that's fine. You can use whole milk. Please don't go any lower than whole milk, because you will need the fat to go along with that. 1 large whole egg. 1 large yolk, no white, 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla, 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of sugar, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 cups of fresh blueberries, which is 12 ounces, or according to the box, which they came in, 1 pint, which a pint is actually 16 ounces. So I'm not quite sure why they call a pint of blueberries a pint when it's only 12 ounces. Anyways, well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video today, and look forward to seeing you again soon.